made them friends. Steel Magnolias. Premiering next Wednesday on Showtime. The biggest movies, the funniest shows. It's all part of the Best of 90 Festival. Tomorrow, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Sigourney Weaver.
Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters 2. Then, a time of hatred and murder. Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe star in Mississippi Burning. Plus, Howie Mandel, hooray for Hollywood. Tomorrow, starting at 8, 7 Central. Great movies and comedy. All part of the Best of 90 Festival on Showtime. When Harry Met Sally.
No man can be friends with a woman that he finds attractive. He always wants to have sex with her.
Well, I guess we're not going to be friends then.
Guess not.
When Harry Met Sally.
You look like a normal person, but actually you are the angel of death.
When Harry Met Sally.
We did it.
They did it.
It's a Showtime exclusive you won't see on HBO or Cinemax.
Your basic nightmare.
Billy Crystal. Meg Ryan. When Harry Met Sally. Sunday on Showtime. Are your kids perfectly normal?
I don't understand what he's doing.
That's what Gil Buckman's shooting for.
And I'm the one in therapy.
But trying to make a kid normal
Why'd you make me play second base?
is beating your head against a wall.
He likes to butt things with his head.
How proud you must be.
Steve Martin, Mary Steenburgen, Rick Moranis, and Jason Robards.
You worry too much.
In our exclusive hit, Parenthood. Sunday on Showtime.
Hi, my name is Stephen Banks. Showtime is showing my first special, Home Entertainment Center, again in December. Now, ever since I did that special, I've received thousands of letters from people all across the country. I really appreciate it, and I'd like to read some of them to you. Let's see what we got. Kind of reminds you of Miracle on 34th Street, doesn't it? Here's one. Let's see. Dear Stephen Banks, I loved your Showtime special, Home Entertainment Center. It was one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I taped the show and I've watched it 16 times so far. When are you going to do something new? Okay, another one. Dear Mr. Banks, while we enjoyed your special on Showtime, we wondered, isn't it about time you did another show? It's been 2 years. Are you still in show business? Are you still alive? Have we seen all you can do, or are you a one-trick pony? Dear one-trick pony. Wait a minute, they can't all be like this. This is, this is more like it. Dear Stephen, I loved your show and I love you. P.S. The doctor called and he said the lab tests prove that you are the legal father of my beautiful little baby girl who wants to know who her daddy is and when is he going to do another show. Okay, that's it. If that's what you want, then that's what you'll get. I'll do a new show, a brand new show, but you can't see it till January. You can only see it on Showtime.
Showtime for people who value their entertainment.
Still Harris in Hollywood, and look who's talking. None other than John Travolta himself. Back on the big screen with a film follow-up to that original surprise comedy blockbuster. We met in the smallest room on the studio lot to talk about a career that's been full of hits and more. Hits and surprises.
Wait a minute, I'm not done.
But, John, I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm trying to interview all the previous dance partners of Princess Diana. Now, come on. I remember being a kid and your mother says, go dance with so-and-so. But when you're at the White House and Nancy Reagan comes over to you and says, like a blonde woman wants to dance with you, and she happens to be the wife of a future king of England. I don't care how big a star you are. Butterflies?
You look up the dictionary definition of shock.
Yeah. Headlines around the world. Fun?
Oh, man. It was something. It really was magical, probably to say the least, because I didn't expect it. And I was just honored to be there at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what we were going to do or how it was going to work or whether it would be the center of attention. Or I didn't know what it was. But you know it. When the music came on, it was just us for 12 minutes or something. You know, songs going on and on. And oh, man. It was great, though. It was great. She started to lead, and I had to, like, kind of, you know,
me, yes.
put my hand in the middle of the back and say, follow me. she did.
When I look back at those early days, we almost didn't even have a cotter, I read, because you were just offered big money of $750 a week to go into the Ritz on Broadway.
$650
Sorry?
a week, and boy.
Typographical error.
Yeah, well, it was quite a decision because I got to lead in that Broadway show, and I've never really had, I had parts in Broadway shows, but I thought this is a tough one, and my manager said at the time, said, well, do you want a stage career or do you want a film career? Because if you want a film career, you better stay here. You know, and, all right. I had no money, and I thought, okay, well, risk it. And 2 months later, I was cast in Cotter.
Boy.
So it was a good move.
Oh, thank you, yes. Then we go from the small screen to the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, there's no one in the world who ever started bigger with Saturday Night Fever when that thing hit. Boy, oh boy. But the one thing I have to ask you about, a movie called The Devil's Rain. Uh-oh. How close do I have to look at this cheap little horror film to see John Travolta?
Well, there's a very interesting shot of my rear end, and and other than that, I don't know if you...
That's about it? That's about it?
Yeah, I was in a mask the whole time, you know. I melted a lot.
You don't own a copy of that one?
No.
No, and don't want to. But Saturday Night Fever, Tony Manero, did you have any inkling just how big, or do you think you were just doing a
No,
nice
I
little
thought
film?
that it was just a stepping stone for other things. Yeah.
Which it has been, but still, you know, stepping stone.
Well, we never anticipated it would be that large, you know. And of course, Carrie, I had done prior to that, which set up, you know, my relationship with Brian De Palma.
Yeah, as director.
So that was I had good, you know, and Boy in the Plastic Bubble. Which, so leading up to Saturday Night Fever, I had felt experienced enough to take this role on, but we didn't expect it to be that kind of impact.
I read that you don't even have the white suit anymore. It's sold at auction.
No, Jean Siskel has one, and the other one went to Jane Fonda, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got the other one, I think.
You know, Grease, I remember fondly. You have to as well. And I wonder what's more important when you look back, the percentage of the gross or that gold record that you must have? Gold record, platinum, probably.
Platinum 25 times.
Really?
Yeah, Grease and Saturday Night Fever, other than Michael Jackson's Thriller, right, are the two biggest albums in history.
And you still have 2 of the top 10 grossing films, don't you, or something like that?
Well, with Look Who's Talking, it actually will be 3 now. 3 of the top in history.
With no electronics, no gimmicks, no shark.
Mm-mm.
Good work.
Yeah, I'm proud. I'm very proud of it. Yeah.
That's very,
Bruce said to me that. He said, hey, John, can you believe it? We have the biggest film in history. I said, I know.
He also has your car, doesn't he?
He bought, yeah. Before I even knew Bruce well, he bought a 55 Thunderbird for his then girlfriend, yeah.
Urban Cowboy was a wonderful addition to the filmography.
Thank you.
And I see the story that you started the film with a beard because a dog had bitten you. And
Yes.
to cover a scar, but then you realized, or people realized...
Well, it's right. I don't know if we can hear it.
Oh, you still have it a
right
little
here. And we had to do a little plastic surgery to get it, the scar to go away.
Fine.
But it never really showed up on screen too much.
I never noticed that. So
Matter of
we got
fact,
rid
you
of
know, I was at an event the other night, and Demi Moore and Bruce Willis were there,
Mhm.
and they said, John, we just saw Urban Cowboy. We watched it from the beginning till the end. It's great, man.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
From our Nobody's Perfect department, we did pass up chances at movies like Officer and a Gentleman, Splash. True? Do you ever look at movies and say, oh darn, or do you just look ahead and say?
No, because I figure, realistically, if you said yes to those, maybe there'd be no Look Who's Talking, which is bigger and better than all of them. You know what I mean? you never know the chronology of films and what choices you'd make. So the best way to look at it is you make the best choice that you can at the time that you do it. And Officer and Gentleman was about a jet pilot, and I was becoming a jet pilot in life. So I figured, well, that's more interesting to me than playing one that on screen doesn't even fly.
You're right.
You know, so my life always came first anyway, you know.
But one thing I've always admired, you have always looked ahead. There's never been regret. Yep, maybe this didn't work, maybe that...
No, I don't believe in regret. It doesn't... You can learn things from the past, but to actively stew in your memories about it is just kind of silly.
Well, now, if you look back at films you have made and films you want to make, when a script for Look Who's Talking comes across your desk, look me in the eye and tell me how you know it's going to be as good and as a big a hit as it was. What a sweet little film it was, the original.
Yeah, you don't know. You know, you just kind of read it and like it, and in this case, Amy Heckerling really was a big fan. And
she wrote it with you in mind.
And she wrote it with me in mind. So those are the kind of things you say, well, this group really cares and they want me to do this movie and I'm going to give it a go. Yeah.
Look, you got to use Lamaze. It works. My sister-in-law used it. You don't use drugs, and it's better for the kids.
You know, the only people who say stupid things like that are men because they're idiots.
Do you want me to call your husband when we get to the hospital?
I don't have a husband.
How about your boyfriend?
Look, if you have to know my life history, I was artificially inseminated.
What are you, lesbo?
I have to ask, when you're on camera with a baby and they're about to put the voice of Bruce Willis in or the voice of Roseanne Barr, talking now of Look Who's Talking too, do you hear those voices at the time you're doing it, or do you just stand there staring kind of stupidly at a baby knowing they're going to add a voice later?
Yeah, you know, because you have a general idea of what the writer wants the baby to think, but you don't know exactly what it will be, so you kind of leave room for that.
So you have to just sit and hold the baby and...
Yeah.
So they listen to John Travolta's voice, but you don't hear theirs when you're doing your work.
Right.
Sir,
My kid left her shoe inside. Can we get it? Thanks.
okay. I guess he went for it. Mike, here. Remember your obnoxious routine, okay? Remember it? I live for it. Say popcorn, popcorn.
Popcorn.
Can I help you?
Yeah, the kids, they knocked over the popcorn in the theater.
All right, calm down. Just a minute.
Hey, I can be obnoxious, too.
Just go.
Oh, no, really? Oh, you're great. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a
It's
lot.
all right. It's okay.
Always
John, I was so happy, as silly as it sounds, to see you in a dance scene again. There are two
that
of the
was
film,
nice,
and they make me happy. One, you're celebrating successful potty training, which I know is a great reason to dance. But then the one through the kindergarten, through the preschool.
That's nice, isn't it?
Real fun. And how
Yeah.
does it feel, once again, to be up there?
Well, you know, we were doing an homage to Jailhouse Rock, you know, from Elvis's old movie. And the way Amy set it up in this big room, in this baby gym with all these bright colors and the city of New York behind me, and a bridge and the kids following me, you know, and that music all shook up. Man, you know, you can't help but, like, love it.
Right now, a more serious project coming ahead with Midnight Rider.
Yeah, this is a light drama that I'm doing, but it's just a nice movie, you know. It's about a guy in the 50s who's a music teacher for some reform school kids, and they teach him things and he teaches them, and they don't know he's running from the law and all this kind of stuff. And there's two romantic relationships, and
Good work.
it's pretty good film. Yeah.
One question that I'd like that I see it from a John Travolta quote, and I promised you I wouldn't be throwing quotes
Oh,
back
okay.
up, but it's real good. I became famous in 1975, and I learned how to handle it by 1985.
That's true.
It's a 10-year process.
10 years. It was fun, you know, but it was kind of overwhelming at the same time. But I survived it.
You did, and real well.
Thanks.
John's just now completed his upcoming film, Midnight Rider. But the studio warns, get ready for a title change on that one. John Travolta's career has been full and fascinating already, and we thought we'd get some of the details from the gentleman himself. Our thanks to John, our thanks to you. Bill Harris in Hollywood, we'll talk again.
It's time again for the ACE Awards, cable TV's annual salute to the finest programs that cable has to offer. This year, Showtime is proud to have presented stars, series, specials, and concerts that have been nominated for this prestigious honor. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Showtime Coast to Coast, It's Gary Shandling Show. Just for Laughs, the Montreal International Comedy Festival. Showtime Championship Boxing. 6 Minutes. Byline Showtime. Fear. Deceptions. 20 years of Monty Python. Super Dave. Paul McCartney Put It There. Neon Empire. Louise Duarte, The Mouth That Roared. Barry Manilow, SRO on Broadway. Jeff Cesario, Back to Reality. Who will the winners be? January 13th will be a night to remember when our stars come out for the ACE Awards. Check local listings for details.
Despite its fairy tale title, Mermaids is all about real life.
Let me tell you something, Charlotte. You know, sometimes being the mother really stinks.
It's about mothers and daughters growing up and learning to accept each other.
Don't walk away from me, Mom. You're not going to walk away from me. I am not invisible.
Cher, who is in real life a single parent and a rebel in her own right, understands the need for daughters to break away in their search for themselves.
You bring children up and then they struggle as hard as they can to get away from you and kind of put down all the things that you believe in or desperately the bigger image you have, the harder it is for them to cut their own way in the world. So I think I had a really easy time with my daughter. We had it rough for a couple of years, like from 13 to 15. I mean, I know that you're planning a celibate life, but with half my chromosomes, I think that might be tough.
As a role model, Mrs. Flax is not your ordinary mom.
You're a hell of a woman, Rachel.
I know.
Flamboyant and sexy, she marches to the beat of a different drummer.
Mrs. Flax is kind of the love 'em and leave 'em, you know. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. She really spends a lot of time caring about her children, but once she thinks that they're fine and everything's status quo, she's much more interested in, you know, how tight her skirt is. Okay, how do I look?
Like a woman about to go forth in sin.
Oh, good, exactly the look I was hoping for.
Terrified and confused by her own emerging desires, Charlotte fears she'll end up just like her mother.
Charlotte is a young girl who is waking up sexually and emotionally to life and to everything. And she thinks, my God, I'm going to be just like my mother, so of course I better become a nun.
Charlotte, we're Jewish.
Part of the reason Charlotte wants to be a nun so bad is because if she's a nun, then she thinks that more guys will want her because they can't have her because she's a nun. Which is really sort of sick.
Charlotte is really kind of a drama queen, you know. I think if Mrs. Flax was the perfect mother and stayed home and baked cookies, Charlotte would still be able to find some sort of teenage angst in that.
Outwardly as different as night and day. Like all mothers and daughters, these characters are more alike than they dare admit.
Charlotte, it was a pleasure.
Even though they fight and bicker all the time, I think they have like a really deep respect for each other because even though they do all that and they drive each other crazy, they do it in the same way. So they are on the same level. They're both very smart.
It's a combination of Charlotte's drama and Mrs. Flax's drama. I mean, they're two generations of the same woman.
Maybe your life works for you, but it doesn't work for me. And I want to stay.
And do what?
Finish high school.
Great start. What's your major, town tramp?
There is no adult and there's no child. They bring a lot of great things out in each other and a lot of awful things out in each other. What they discover and what they were trying to deny for so long was that what they need is each other.
3, 2, 1,
That's good.
Life is change, Charlotte. Death is dwelling on the past or staying in one place too long.
Hi, Super Dave Osborne here, sitting with Andrew, the youngest graduate from my junior stunt training seminar. Andrew would like to wish you all a happy holiday. Andrew? Let's wish him a happy holiday. All right. Happy holidays from Andrew and Super Dave.
Nick Chapman went to Hollywood assured of immediate success.
I want you to get out of my office and go write me a movie.
But in Hollywood, nothing is a sure thing.
No girlfriend, no job, no future.
Can a young man make it in Tinseltown and still stick to his ideals?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Kevin Bacon.
I think we have a movie.
The Big Picture. Premiering Tuesday on Showtime. Life has brought them together.
Pink is my signature color.
Sally Field,
Men are supposed to be made out of steel or something.
Dolly Parton,
God don't care which church you go to, long as you show up.
Shirley MacLaine,
Oh, leave me alone.
Daryl Hannah,
My personal tragedy will not interfere with my ability to do good hair.
Julia Roberts,
I want a child of my own.
and choice has made them friends. Steel Magnolias. Premiering next Wednesday on Showtime. Thinking of starting a family? First, take this simple Paul Provenza maturity quiz.
Stupid head.
Are you ready for a close relationship?
Just couldn't see eye to eye. Plus, she had cooties.
Are you shocked by the facts of life?
Someone's gonna call you daddy?
Are you prepared to behave like your parents?
You kids today.
Congratulations, you failed. Enjoy Paul Provenza, the incredible man boy.
We'll go to a restaurant and fill up on bread.
January 12th, exclusively on Showtime. The Best of 90 Festival continues with Harrison Ford and Melanie Griffith.
I'm telling you, she's your man.
Working Girl, coming up next. The following program is brought to you by Showtime for people who value their entertainment. And now, as a tribute to the spirit of the season, Showtime presents the sounds of New Year's Eve.
10, 9, 8,
There.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the wildest thing to happen to December 31st since Guy Lombardo and the Royal Canadians.
I'm impressed.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Break out the hats and horns for the New Year's Eve Comedy Marathon, Monday, only on Showtime. And Happy New Year, everybody. This man is having an affair.
It's not that easy. I've got kids.
But his mistress is famous, rich, pretty, and thin.
You were the absolute best.
His wife, on the other hand, is none of the above.
Do you know what you are? A she-devil.
But that's all about to change. Ed Begley Jr., Meryl Streep, and Roseanne Barr. She-Devil. World television premiere, Tuesday on Showtime. His life has been dedicated to science.
Look at nephew now.
Come on, Dad, we'll be
Look at
late for
nephew.
Uncle Ron's party.
Until Celeste jumps into his life.
Where are you from?
They're gonna kiss.
Before I met you, all I could think about was science.
Who is she?
Just what I needed. Daddy, don't you think this is pretty strange? What is that? You're an alien.
It's out of this world entertainment. My Stepmother is an Alien, Tuesday on Showtime. On the next all-new Showtime 30-minute movie.
Our client is desperate.
A business proposal turns into the deal of a lifetime.
What is this?
Your wife is the donor we are seeking.
Talking about my wife, for God's sake. I can't sign her life away.
Reuben Blades, James Karen, and Vincent Spano star in Heart of the Deal on the Showtime 30-minute movie. Next Wednesday on Showtime.
I really wouldn't know. I'm actually just trying to make my way through it, honestly.
Somehow you would try to stimulate writers, because I think that's kind of the beginning and end for films. I'd somehow find a way to stimulate writing.
I would keep the testing of motion pictures at the level of a tool and a guideline, because I think it's rapidly becoming a sanitizer of good controversial product. I think sometimes if you get 3 bad cards, you tend to say, well, let's take that part out, because we don't want to offend those 3 people out of 280 people in the audience.
I hope the fashion will move towards discovering through film the lands that are inside our minds rather than the received notions of the world that are outside. We can all see the world outside. And by that I mean we should be exploring the past with film, because we could really travel with film. And we should be exploring the way our lives don't tie up rather than the way that they do. And that's what I change. The more films about that, the better, I say.
Hi, I'm Richard Jenny. Just getting a little trim here before I head out for a party Showtime's throwing to kick off my all-new special. You know, a lot of people have been asking me why I called my show Crazy from the Heat. They're saying, hey, you're not crazy. You're more of a down-to-earth, regular guy type of comedian. And looks great, Tom. And I'm saying, hey, lighten up. It's just a title. What was I going to call the show? Richard Jenny, Irked by the Heat?